What's up, internet? This is a wah pedal mini. This is a volume pedal, also mini. That's right, some geniuses have figured out that these typical space hogging pedals right here can actually be made smaller. Because if you're really trying to cramp a lot of stuff on your pedal board, smaller can be better. Because if you have a full-sized wah and full-sized volume pedal on your board at the same time, you've already occupied space for 4 regular-sized pedals. That means less pedals for you unless you have a huge, ginormous board. But if you're trying to save on space, having these 2 mini-sized versions is a great idea to cram more pedals into your board. Now, I'm sure some of you guys like me have actually wished for these things to come in just one package. I mean, why not, right? They are structurally the same. So manipulating their functions shares the same mechanics, and turning these 2 into one pedal would just make a lot of sense. And again, some geniuses have created these things. This is the Mooer free-step wah and volume pedal, and it is exactly what it says it is. A wah and a volume pedal in one. These 2 merged together is this thing. There are other brands out there like Hot Tone and Kalen, but what drew me into Mooer is the fact that you can choose the mode you want without having to duck down to flip a switch. Everything is done by just putting your foot on the platform, which I think is a really cool feature. So if you want to choose the wah function, just press on here, or if you want to choose the volume function, also just press your foot on here. No ducking down, no flipping switches, everything is done by foot just right here. I recently got this pedal because I wanted to migrate into a smaller board without having to compromise on the sounds that I can make. Throughout the course of my musical stints, I have always had a volume pedal and a wah pedal on my board. I used to have the regular sized ones, and man, they were huge, and I didn't really have a board that was very big that could fit all of the pedals I wanted in there. Then over time I switched to these minis, and now after discovering this Mooer free-step volume and wah pedal, I think I'm gonna give this one a try. And if you're someone who is in the same dilemma as me, or would just want to see how this 2-in-1 pedal stacks up against those one-trick ponies, you can check out the comparisons that I will be demoing, and hopefully you'll get an idea if you should jump the gun on the Mooer free-step wah and volume pedal for your board. Just note that these comparisons will feature the Morley M2 passive volume pedal and the Dunlop Cry Baby Mini as against the Mooer free-step wah. I have not tried the other brands out there, so if you have experienced them, please do share them on the comment section below. Anywho, let's begin with the features. Size-wise, the Morley M2 is bigger than the Mooer, just a little bit bigger as you can see. And comparing to the Dunlop is a little bit smaller than the Mooer, placing the Mooer in between the M2 and the Crybaby in terms of size. The Mooer is actually very easy to use. You can choose how you want it to function via these switches on the side. So right here it says wah or volume or wah and volume. Wah just means it is exclusively a wah pedal. Volume means it's exclusively a volume pedal, and wah and volume pedal means that it is both a wah and a volume pedal at the same time. Well, it is that at the same time. It just means that pressing down here on the foot pads means that it'll toggle right through those functions without having to flip the switch here, just like what I've mentioned before. Another cool feature here would be the pads right here. These are the foot sensing pads that detects your foot. So you place your foot in there and it actually detects your foot and engages the type of function that you would want to have, either a wah or volume pedal. You can see right here there are 2 of those, one in the toe position and one in the heel position, and both lets you select the function. Now what's cool about this one is that having this pad also on the heel position means that you can begin your wah sound on the down heel position. Ordinary wah pedals would always begin with the toe position, but this one, since you can engage the function via the heel position, it lets you begin with an open cocked wall. Also, a very notable and very useful feature right here would be these roller knobs. These rollers right here lets you tighten or widen the range of your wah or volume effect. For volume, you can choose how much volume you would want to have on your heel position. Some people would want their heel position to have absolutely zero volume, while some people would want to start their heel position with just a little bit of volume. And this little roller right here would let you set that to how you want it to be. Same with the wah function. This roller right here adjusts how wide your sweep of wah would be. Again, this depends on how you want your wah to sound. Some people like their wahs with a lot more pronounced vowels. Some people just like them very subtle. However you like it to be, these roller knobs would let you adjust according to your preference. Now that we are done with the features, let's get down to the actual sounds. I will be showing you some clips which will demonstrate and showcase how the Mooer free-step volume and wah pedal stacks up against the Morley M2 volume pedal mini and the Dunlop Cry Baby wah pedal mini. Now just note that I have maxed out the adjustment knobs on the Mooer, so it'll be using the widest taper for both the wah setting and the volume setting. Okay, now let's begin with the volume. If you were able to hear it, the M2 had a slower escalation from the heel position, and the Mooer had a more abrupt increase in volume. The sweep is also shallower in the Mooer, which is natural since this travels pretty short as compared to the travel of the M2, so that's pretty much expected. Now, let's move on to the wah. If you were able to hear it, the Cry Baby had a wider sweep compared with the Mooer. It starts off with a really deep sounds and progressing smoothly into the ahs. The Mooer, on the other hand, had a shallower vowel sounds which changes a lot less smoother than the Cry Baby. This was also more obvious in the leads, where the Cry Baby was able to pronounce deeper vowels better than the Mooer. Okay, so those are the sound comparisons for these pedals. Now I will be sharing my thoughts about them and my recommendations for those who are looking to consider the Mooer Freestep wah and volume pedal as their next pedal on their board. Let's just get this one over with first. Is the Mooer Freestep wah and volume pedal a good pedal at all? I would have to say yes, it is actually a good pedal by itself. It seems to be built tough, and the ideas behind it being a 2-in-1 pedal which also allows you to tweak its sounds is something that many players would really appreciate and find it very, very practical and very useful in real-world scenarios. Its size will, of course, obviously save you lots of space on your board, which is probably the biggest reason why you would want to get this pedal. Now, should you get this pedal? I'd have to say yes and no. What do I mean by that? If you have a limited sized board but you do not want to choose between having just a volume or a wah pedal, then by all means, this pedal will suit you very, very well. If space is your priority, the Mooer Freestep wah and volume pedal is a very good option. If tone is your priority, and I mean lush, top-notch tones, then I'd say the Mooer Freestep wah and volume pedal might not be your top pick. As heard in the demos earlier, the Mooer sounds good, but the One Trick Ponies just sounded better. The M2 had better volume escalation, and the Cry Baby had deeper vowel pronunciations. For someone who's really more discerning about their tones, these differences would actually really matter. So if you're that type of player caught in this dilemma, I'd say either you get a bigger board or just ditch other pedals in place of these two. Just for my final analogy, the Mooer Freestep wah and volume pedal is like a Swiss Army knife. It's a tiny thing with lots of functions, which is great if you want something really handy that can get the job done. But it will always be better eating with a real spoon, cutting wood with a jungle knife, and starting fire with a match. So I'm pretty sure you all get what that means. And that's it for this episode. I hope that this video has helped you guys get an idea about the Mooer Freestep wah and volume pedal, whether to get it or not, or just go for something else. As always, please do subscribe to my channel if you still have not yet. And yeah, that's it for this episode. Until the next episode, peace out, Internet.